You know, I got to spend some wonderful times with Bud Browne. Not as much as these guys, but we were making this one of his last films, Going Surfing, and he said to me, "I got this camera I want you to paddle out with, and you know, you take pictures inside the tube holding the camera at the pipeline." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, show me what you got," you know. And so we go down the beach, and it's a pretty good pipeline. I mean, it's 10 feet or so, and he pulls this, it's a motorcycle inner tube, and that's the water housing for his camera. He's got a little plexiglass lens glued on the front, and he loads the camera and puts it in there and kind of takes a string and ties up the other end to make it watertight. And I go, "Okay," and he goes, and I see, "Press right here." I marked it with a pen so you know where to press on the inner tube. And then you just, aim it. And I go, "Okay, well, where should I put it, when I paddle?" He goes, "Just hold it in your teeth." And I go, "Okay, but what about if I have a wipeout, what do I do?" He goes, "Oh yeah, okay, wait a minute." And he got a little more string and he tied it onto the end of it, and he had this little skinny leather belt, and he took it off and he goes, "We're about the same size," and he put that around my waist. And I had this string and I had the camera in my teeth. And I mean, it looked like a Fred Flintstone rig. Gave it a try. We actually got some pretty good movies out of that. Pretty funny, but that was Bud. He always was coming up with something clever.
I'd like to remind us also that Bud, when he passed, was nearly 100 years old. He was a school teacher who had the hobby of filming surfing on the beach until about 40 years old. He decided to retire and make a living or invent the career of surf filmmaking. And I love that story, Gerry, because to the end of his days, Bud made everything. No matter how perfect you might buy something and hand it to him, he would always modify it Bud Browne way. And one of the great distresses toward the end of his life was, one of my jobs was to go out and get little items he needed, and he had a thing for shoe goo. And I had to find shoe goo, which was not always so easy to find nowadays, but he made his water housing with shoe goo and a swim cap, and he was very creative. They don't make them like that anymore.
I knew Bud a long time. It seemed that it was this 6'4", 6'6" individual that, anyway, when he started his showing of his movies, I kind of donated my time to help him out. I was, I knew everybody here on the stage, and I knew all the street people and whatnot. So I wanted to make sure we kept them safe. So we were in charge of taking down posters and all that. And for this, we were able to go to this movie, see? So I started to buy automobiles for him. I don't know, for some reason I got in that position of buying cars, and the cars had to be under $150. I told Buzzy one day, I said, Buzzy, what's he gonna do with these things when he leaves? Because he's only here sometimes 3-4 months. Buzzy said, "Don't worry, I'll tell you what we'll do." So, we get the car for him, he'd use it, and this was 5 or 6 cars. So I said, "Buzzy, what are we going to do with the car?" He says, "Let's break it apart right in front of him." So, we take the windshield, okay, and break that, and break the inside mirrors, and break the legs, and what do used to get so angry. What are you doing that for? And we keep them going because there were two of us. You keep them going. And then finally, we'd end up unloading it. You know, I won't tell you where we unloaded it. Stay away from that. But this was something that was like a humorous thing that Buddy and I had fun playing with Bud.
Bud, it's amazing that he had so much humor in his films because these men knew Bud very well. But Bud was a very reticent, reserved, quiet individual. And I think that's where he released his sense of humor, because he was very quiet and shy. I like to think of him as the great observer. And that quote that my father said was, "Big waves are not measured in feet, but in increments of fear." And I think that's a good metaphor for how my father and many of his friends live their lives. And I think it's very true, whether it's talking about surfing, you know, or how you live your life. We don't measure in the things that happen, but the journey that it takes in between and the steps we take to get toward there.
I would add that I think it's also about increments of passion. There's two sides to the coin of riding a big wave. One is the terror. When that wave is coming in at you, you're absolutely, ultimately terrified. But at the same time, you're passionately drawn, magnetically, uncontrollably toward this beautiful, magnificent, rolling power that you want to be part of. And you have to decide, it's a struggle between fear and passion, whether you go or not. And sometimes you don't go. There's no rules out there. You have to make up your own rules. I remember a little boy being out there and looking at all those guys driving to work in their Mercedes, and I was out there in Malibu all alone, well, not all alone, with Peter Cole, and a few other guys who were kind of saying, no, I don't want to be a lawyer. You discover freedom, absolute freedom, and this whirling myriad of emotions, passions, fears. And in this way, you become addicted and you become a true surfer. You find out who you are and you begin loving each other, other surfers, until they take off in front of you. But I think there's just so many dimensions to it. When I look at this group of guys here and all of you, I mean, each one of us has a secret story, a passion of how we got hooked on surfing. So, thanks. Thanks to all of you.
I want to say that, to summarize everything, it's great to get old because we can really exaggerate our past.
And I'd like to thank all of you up on stage for being here tonight to shed light on a special time that we could visit together. So thank you. Hi, I'm Anna Trent Moore, and we're here at the Academy of Arts showing Bud's Surfing the 50s. And it's been a wonderful evening going back in time, seeing footage of people that helped create a really fun time in surfing in Hawaii and California. And it was a great honor to bring to the stage our friends George Downing, Peter Cole, Kimo Hollinger, Grigg, and Bud Spirit was still here, alive and well. Aloha.